Mechonemonas, Nunemonas, Noetar, TV. Mechonemonas, Nunemonas, Noetar.
Hi everyone. Good evening. Am I audible? Can you hear me? Can you all hear me? Am I
Yes,
audible?
yes,
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So last day we were just started the class, right? And in the previous day's class we were focusing on the introduction topics. Basically, started from what is the basic economic problem, right? And what is macroeconomics, right? And how it is different from microeconomics, right? So this kind of topic, and we came across with what is how to calculate national income, right? And we came to the concept of gross domestic product, gross national products, right? So these kind of topics, I mean this kind of these topics were discussing in the previous day's class, right? Okay, so before we start the class, I have a request. Please keep the cameras on. All of you. Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right. So today we will be moving to the next part. That is, we will be focusing more on this one, cost of living. That is calculation of consumer price index, and measuring joblessness. That is, what is unemployment, what is unemployment rate. So this kind of topics will be or will be discussing in today's class, right? So before we move to today's class, I want to clarify that all of you are okay with the previous day's tutorial, which is we just went through in the last day's class, and you said all the topics, I mean all the questions are fine. So if you still have any problem or any doubt on any of these topic, I mean questions, we can give some time or we can spend some time to clarify it. Otherwise, we'll move to the today's topic. All these questions are fine. All these questions are actually directly from the PPT. It's nothing from outside the PPT. But still, if you have any doubt on any of these questions, please let me know so that I can clarify it. You have doubt on any of these questions from the given in the worksheet? All these questions are okay? Students, can you please respond? Have you faced any difficulty in completing these questions? Any difficulty have you faced? Can you respond, please? Can you hear me? Why are you not responding? You have any doubt, or is it's clear or not clear? Please.
it's okay. All the questions are fine.
How about others? What about Nada, Uzama,
It's okay, sir.
Nuzat,
Clear, sir.
Shafna, Shafna, Shamuna,
Yes.
Nahil,
Yes.
Lisana.
Yes,
All the questions are okay. All the questions are fine.
all the questions are fine.
Illam, Illam.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, right.
Okay.
Okay, so if you are okay with all the questions, we are moving to the next part of our class. As I mentioned, it's already it's a continuation of previous day's class actually. So today we will be focusing on measuring cost of living, the calculation of consumer price index, and we will be looking to another concept, that is unemployment. So these are the two main concepts we are going to address in today's class. Okay. So I think we can start the class. If you don't have any concerns, or if you have any concerns or any clarity problem regarding previous day's class, we will be working on it. If you are okay, then we will move to this session. Are you all okay with the previous day's class? All the areas are fine?
Yes.
Alright, so we will move to the next part of the class. That is, so we have to start from here, the measuring cost of living. So cost of living, that particular concept is closely associated with inflation, right? So this concept is already, I'm sure, well aware of you, right? So what is the meaning of inflation? So inflation is a situation where the prices of goods and services are increasing, right? So from one time period to another time period, what is happening? Prices of goods and services are increasing. For example, let's take price of uh, uh, any product here, maybe mango or apple, which we purchased in 2005 or 2010, and now at what rate we are getting it. So that is the basic thing what we can understand by using inflation. So compared to two period of time, so obviously how we are doing it, we are comparing 2 years from 2010 to 2025. How many percentage what happened, prices got increased in the market, right? So that is the meaning of inflation. So general price levels are increasing, all the goods and services price levels are increasing from one time period to another, right? So that phenomena, we call it in economics, is what it is called inflation. So what is it? It's an increase in general price level, right? So that's the first concept we have to know before we move to the calculation of consumer price index. Okay, consumer price index, it's a method to calculate inflation. How many percentage rise is there in price level from one time period to another. So in order to understand that, one of the most important calculation or method what we use is what? This is the consumer price index. So before we move to consumer price index, we should know what is the meaning of inflation and what are the different types of inflation and causes of inflation. All those things we have to know, right? So then only we can go to what? The way to measure inflation, right? So that's the mean. Okay, so anyway, so we are going to start the class with a small definition on meaning of inflation. So what is inflation? Inflation is a rise in general price level of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. So when we compare two time period, let's say 2010 to 2024, what happened to prices of goods and services, right? So this is what basically what we are doing in calculation of inflation. So we are taking two time period. In that two time period, what happened to our prices of goods and services? For example, in 2010 we got a huge basket of goods and services. So here it is dollar. Let's take in our example rupiah. A big basket of goods and service goods, we got it for 150 rupiah, let's say, as our local example. So now the same basket we may need to pay more money as per the figure we are paying to get the same basket of goods. Now little more money, that is 200 rupiah. Okay, so or dollar. So that is an example of what we can say for inflation. Inflation means in order to get the same basket of goods, how much extra we are paying, right? Which means what? How many percentage the price of goods and services has increased from one time period to another. Okay, when we are taking a time period from one time period to the another time period, by how many percentage what happened? The prices got increased in the market. Okay, so that is the meaning of what? The term called inflation. Okay, I hope all of you got the meaning or a very clear idea on what is meant by inflation. What is inflation? Inflation is an increase in general price level of goods and services between two time period, when from one time period to another time period, how many percentage the prices are got increased in the market, or otherwise we can say to get the same basket of goods and services, how many more amount we are spending, right? Otherwise how much extra prices are spending on the same basket of goods and services, right? So how much extra we are paying is what it is, because of there is inflation, right? So there is inflation, that's why we are paying extra money, right? So that is the concept called what? Inflation, right? Right, so I think the word meaning is clear. Any clarity problem on definition of inflation or with the example of inflation? Is it clear? All right. Okay, so how does increase in money supply increases inflation? So generally, the main cause of inflation is what? So the circulation of money in the economy gets increases, right? From one time period to another time period. As a result, what will happen? It will cause more money will be chasing less goods, right? So such a scenario it will be resulting, right? For example, before the purchasing power of the people are less, so what is the, okay, the products also, obviously the demand will be less in the market, right? So when the purchasing power of the customers, right, people are less, obviously what will be that they will not be demanding as much goods, because their money is less, the amount what is available with them is less, right? But when the money supply increases, when most of the people's standard of living got increases, what will be that their purchasing power will be more. It means what? In the economy, what is that? Money supply is increasing, right? This will cause what? uh, more circulation of money in the market, right? So when the money supply is more, what will be that? Circulation of money in the market will be increasing. So obviously what will be that? More money will chase less products. So as a result, what will be happening? The products demand will increase in the market, because purchasing power of the people are high, right? So when all the people have the purchasing power, what will be the demand for the products in the market will be going up. As a result, what will happen? The prices of goods and services will go up. So this is what basically happening with the money supply. So when the money supply in the economy increases, or otherwise we call it as aggregate demand, so people's purchasing power, right, when it goes up, what will happen? It will cause a situation where the demand of goods will increase in the market. As a result, price will go up. So this will cause what? Basically a situation called inflation, right? All right, so when we are talking about inflation, we can see there are different types of inflation. So inflation, though we say it just inflation, the concept we will be able to further divide into different types. Okay, so we are going to familiarize what are the three main types of inflation what we can see in our economies. Okay, so inflation, that particular phenomena, we will be able to classify into three different types. Okay, so based on the causes we can say. So the first type of inflation is demand pull inflation. So demand pull inflation means when the aggregate demand means total demand of goods in the market, right? Aggregate means total. Okay, so when the aggregate demand of goods in the market increases, what will happen? It will cause, as shown in the figure, the aggregate demand curve will shift to the right. As a result, what will happen? Price level will increase, right? So let's say as per the figure, so the D1 AD aggregate demand curve and AS aggregate supply curve intersect here like a normal good, and this determine a price level up to here, and the quantity of output or the real GDP, it is up to here. So this is the normal situation. So when aggregate demand increases, what will happen? the aggregate demand curve will shift to the right. As a result, what will happen? It will cause an increase in the price of goods and services. So this is called what? The situation of demand pull inflation. So demand pull inflation means what? An inflation which is causing by increase in aggregate demand. Aggregate demand means total demand of goods and services in the market. So how aggregate demand will increase? Aggregate demand increase because people are getting more employment opportunities, their purchasing power is high, right? So when they have more purchasing power, they will spend their money on more basket of goods and services. As a result, what will be that? The total demand in the economy will move up, or otherwise it will be increasing, right? So this will result what? A type of inflation which is known as what? Demand pull inflation. So that is the first type of inflation. Okay, so what we are discussing? We are discussing about what is inflation? Inflation means a situation where the general price level of goods and services are increasing between two time period, right? And when we come to different types of inflation, there are three different types of inflation, in which the first one is demand pull inflation. Demand pull inflation is resulting due to increase in aggregate demand in the economy. Aggregate demand means the total demand of goods and services, right? When the aggregate demand increases, obviously it will result a situation in the market where what is happening? When the demand increases, price of the good will be high, right? So when we are taking the whole economy also, it's the same. So overall price level will go up as a result of increase in the aggregate demand, right? So that will cause demand pull inflation, the first type of inflation. The second type of inflation is known as cost push inflation. So from the name itself, we can get an idea what is the meaning of cost push inflation. What is cost push inflation? Inflation which is resulting due to increase in the cost of production. Okay, so imagine about firms or industries, they are doing production. So when their cost of production increases, what will happen? They will transfer those cost of production, or they will transfer the burden, extra cost what they have faced in the production to the customer. So it will transfer to the market, right? So as a result, what will be that? The prices of goods and services in the market will go up, right? So when cost of production increases, what will happen? In the market, prices of goods and services will be high, because there is no other way for the firm, right? So they have to be in a position to get a minimum profit. So for that, they may have only one way, that is increase the price of the good along with the increase in the cost of production, right? As a result, the prices of goods and services in the market will be going up. This will result what? Another type of inflation, which is known as cost push inflation. So what is the reason for cost push inflation? What is that? Cost push inflation is resulting due to increase in the cost of production. So cost of production can be in different way. Maybe raw material charges, maybe transportation costs, maybe utility bills are increasing, maybe government increased the tax rate, right? So or even the interest rate in the bank from where they have taken the loan may be high now. So these kind of reasons will be uh, playing behind cost push inflation. So generally, the cost of production is increasing. As a result, firms will increase the price of goods and services in the market, which will result in inflation. We call it as cost push inflation. Okay, so there is the second type of inflation we can see. The third type is called monetary inflation. Okay, the third type of inflation, what is that? It is called monetary inflation. So it is related to money supply. Okay, so basically the monetary inflation is resulting due to inappropriate policies of the government. Suppose government is increasing the public expenditure too much, so a lot of developmental activities are happening, and during an inflationary trend, they are doing more public expenditures. Let's see. So in such a scenario, what will happen? The circulation of money in the economy will again go up, right? So during the period where the economy is showing a inflationary trend, if again the government is doing lot of developmental projects, what will happen? Circulation of money in the economy will again go up. How the circulation of money will go up? More people will be getting jobs, demand for the raw materials will be increasing, so again they will be getting paid for that, right? So again more money from the side of government will be pumped to the market through public expenditure, right? So this will result what? A situation of monetary inflation. It is result because government pump more money or more currency to the market due to what is that, an inappropriate policy. So that is the reason. Otherwise it can be a reason due to overprinting of currency. So sometimes in order to meet the expenditures, if the government is not finding any alternative way, sometimes what they will do, they will go for excess printing of currencies. If it is happening in an economy, it will also result what? Monetary inflation. Okay, so more money will be there in circulation in the market, that will cause inflation of goods and services, or increase in prices of goods and services. Okay, so what is called it? It is called as monetary inflation. Okay, so we have discussed about three different types of inflations now. The first one is demand pull inflation, as shown in the diagram. It is resulting due to increase in the aggregate demand of goods and services. As a result, price levels will be going up, will be causing inflation, right? And we came to cost push inflation. Here cost of production is increasing, and since the cost increases, what the firms will be doing, they will be increasing the price of the goods. As a result, what will happen? This will be causing inflation in the market. Third one is monetary inflation. This is mainly happening due to inappropriate policy, monetary policies of the government. That is, they may doing excess supply of currency to the market, or sometimes it may be due to over public expenditures, which will result what? Over aggregate demand of products in the market will be causing inflation. Okay, so these are what three main types of inflations what we can see in the market. Up to here, are you clear? Any doubts? Any
No.
doubt? All
Yes.
right. Along with that, we can also see there are more causes of inflation. Like when the population is high, it can be also cause for inflation. When the population is high, what will happen? Demand will increase, right? So when the population is high, demand for the products will be also high, right? Will increase, right? So that will cause what? Inflation, right? So that is one reason we can say. Another reason for inflation, what is that? It's what? Increase in the population. Demands for all the products will increase, right? Right, so that is a cause. And another, political instability, like we said, when there is political instability, what will happen? Government will not able to control the market. So sometimes what will be that? Over taxation can be there sometimes, or over supply of currency can be there, right? Or even there is no way to control the market, less control over the market, right? All this can happen. So this will result what? Inflation, right? Then high import. So when the import is high, what will happen? Imported products are high. Obviously those goods will be having high prices because it is coming along with the tax rate, right? So when more goods are importing, what will happen? It will result increase in prices of goods and services in the market, right? So price will go up because imported goods always will be coming with a tax rate. So compared to local goods, if we are more importing, what will be that? That will be also a cause for inflation. And also another reason is a very direct reason, that is increase in wages and salary, right? When the wages and the salary increase, what will happen? Cost of production, right? Production will increase. So this will result in inflation. Oil price increasing. So when the oil price increase, what will happen? It's also a raw material for the production, right? So it will also result what? Increase in the cost of production. Oil is not only using for running, for the workers, it is a fuel for many of the businesses, right? For the production factories. So when the oil price is high, what will happen? The cost of production will increase. This will also be causing for or resulting inflation and corruption. Obviously, right? Corruption is also a reason. We can say it will be resulting inflation when there is corruption as well, right? So all these are various some other, right, extra, right, some more causes that may create inflation in the market, right? So we came across with what is inflation, right? So what is inflation we have familiarized, and what are different types of inflations we have discussed, right? And causes, right? So some extra reasons that may also result in inflation. So those, as we mentioned, population explosion or overpopulation is a reason, because aggregate demand will be more, right? Political instability is a reason, because government cannot control the market properly, so that will be also resulting inflation. Over import is a reason, an increase in wages and salary is a reason, increase in oil price is a reason, corruption is a reason. So these all some other significant factors that is causing forward of inflation, right? All right, now okay, so we have discussed what are different types of inflation and causes of inflations. Now we need to know how we can control inflation. Okay, so in controlling inflation, we have two main policies actually, or two main methods are the monetary measures and fiscal measures. So like that, two ways are there to control inflation. Okay, so first we will be discussing about monetary measures, and we will go to fiscal measures. Okay, so in way to control inflation, we can divide into two. What are they? First is monetary measures. Okay, so let's understand what is monetary measures to control inflation. So monetary measures, basically it's taken through the central bank. So central bank is the authority to take monetary measures in controlling inflation. Okay, so as a part of controlling the inflation, they'll be using a method which is known as contractionary monetary policy. Okay, anyway, I will explain what is the meaning of it first. Contractionary monetary policy means during the period of inflation, what is happening? The money supply is high, right? So that is basically the inflation, right? So what is the objective of the government? They need to reduce the circulation of money from the market, right? So what they have to do? Reduce. The other word we can use for that is what? Contract, right? Contraction. So contractionary monetary policy, in that meaning we are saying, so contractionary monetary policy means we are using a contractionary measure to control inflation. Contraction means what? Reducing, right? So contractionary monetary policy is using for that purpose. So contractionary monetary policy means it includes various measures like increasing the bank rate. So that is bank rate, otherwise we can say interest rate. Interest rate is increasing. So when the circulation or when the inflation is high, what the government will do as per contractionary monetary policy, they will increase the interest rate. What will happen when the government increase interest rate? When the interest rate is increased, less people will be borrowing money from the bank, right? So borrowing will reduce, right? So when the interest rate is high, what will happen? Borrowing will be reduced. For example, when the interest rate is high, we will not feel to go to bank and take a loan for any luxury purpose. For example, I have a plan to buy maybe one car. So and last 2-3 months back, the interest rate was 10 percentage. Now, since there is high inflation, government what they did, I mean, or the banks what they did, they increased the interest rate to 15 percentage. Let's take an example. So what will happen? Automatically, since I have to pay a high interest rate, I may not, as I may cancel my plan to borrow money to buy the car, right? So that will happen. So when the interest rate is high, what will happen? Less people will borrow money from bank. So circulation of money, right? So when less people borrow money, what will happen? Circulation of money in the market will get reduced. It will be reduced. Understand? So as a result, inflation will be controlled. So one of the measure of contractionary monetary policy is what? Bank rate policy, otherwise interest rate policy. Interest rate policy. What they are doing there? They are increasing the interest rate as a part of contractionary monetary policy. What they will do? They will increase the interest rate. So when the interest rate is high, people will less borrow money from banks. As a result, the circulation of money in the economy will be reduced. One way. Then another thing is cash reserve ratio. So actually cash reserve ratio means for the commercial banks, there is central bank here in Maldives. What is the central bank of Maldives? What is it? What's the name? Yeah, MMA, right? Maldives Monetary Authority. So under the central bank, we have a lot of banks, right? So for example, Islamic Bank is there, Maldivian Bank is there, right? SBI is there. Any other banks here? Anyway, so these all banks we call it as what? Islamic Bank, Maldivian Bank, SBI, all these are what? Commercial banks. Okay, central bank means what? MMA is the central bank of Maldives, right? And all other banks like this, Islamic Bank, Maldivian Bank, SBI, all these are commercial banks. Okay, commercial banks means they are the banks operating under the central bank, under the or by the instructions given by the central bank, right? So these banks we call it as what? Commercial banks, right? So when the inflation rate is high, government will ask the commercial banks to increase their cash reserve ratio. So cash reserve ratio means this is a proportion of money what the commercial bank need to keep it in central bank as a reserve. So for example, they need to keep a 20 percentage of their reserve, fund in central bank as a reserve for them. So that is known as what? Cash reserve ratio. Cash reserve means it's a proportion of money that commercial banks need to keep with the central bank as a security. Okay, as a security for them. Why it is keeping? If it is just to avoid the bankruptcy of banks. For that safety purpose, a proportion will be asked to keep with the central bank. Okay, so that is known as cash reserve ratio. So during the period of inflation, the central bank will ask the commercial banks to increase the cash reserve ratio. Why it is doing like that? So that more money will go back to the central bank. So circulation of money in the market will be reduced, right? So when the government increase the cash reserve ratio. What is cash reserve ratio? CRR is the proportion of fund that is held with the central bank belongs to the commercial bank. So commercial banks, a percentage of fund, they are asked to, or they are instructed to keep in reserve with the central bank. We call it as what? Cash reserve ratio. So cash reserve ratio during the period of inflation, they will ask to increase. As a result, the commercial bank will not able to give more loans. Understand? Because that money again went back to the central bank as a reserve. You got it. So as a result, what will happen? Here, circulation of money in the economy we will be, or the central bank will be able to control. Right. So that is another way. And another method is open market operation. Open market operation means issuing of bonds to the market. So we know that the banks, they or the central bank also time to time they will be issuing bonds. Right? Bond means it's a security. So people buy the bonds as a investment. Right? So during the period of inflation, what the central bank and the commercial banks will be doing, they will be issuing more bonds to the market. So whoever having the money or a lot of money with them, what they will do, they will buy and hold the bonds. Because once we are holding the bond, after some at the time of maturity of the bond, we will be able to get a little return out of it, because it bonds are coming with a return. So if you are investing for 1 year, you will be getting extra this much amount. So like that, it's an investment scheme. So when the investment scheme like open market operation, like issuing of bonds are there, people having money, they will buy it and they will hold it with them. So as a result, what will happen? Whoever purchased the bond, that much amount is going back to the financial system. As a result, circulation will be less. That money they cannot use for anything else, right? So it is already with the bank for a period of time. So that period, what will be that inflation will be controlled. You got it. So that is another method as part of contractionary monetary policy governments are using to control, or central bank is using to control inflation. Okay, so contractionary policy, monetary policy is a measure what we are using for to control inflation. So it's a method or it's a measure we use to control inflation. It is operating through various policies like increasing the bank rate policy or the interest rate, increasing the cash reserve ratio, and open market operation like issuing of bonds to the market. So people will buy it. As a result, the circulation of money in the economy will be reduced. All these policies as part of monetary policies can be used to control inflation. Okay, so that is one way to control or to correct inflation. Is it clear? We are discussing about ways to control inflation. So monetary policy is a method to control inflation. Are you clear? Any doubt on monetary policy? Yes, please. Your response is actually not that sound. Nusrat, are you there?
So can you explain once again?
Yeah, so what's your doubt? Can you please highlight your doubt? Can you specify your doubt? What is it actually? Monetary policy is what? What it is using for? It's a method to control inflation. So we were discussing about inflation, right? So it's not that good, right? Prices of goods and services in the market are getting high. It is not good for the country, right? Because prices are going up. It's not, people's living will be very it will be in bad condition, because they may not able to afford all the things what they required when the prices are going up, right? So we need to control it, right? So for that we use certain ways. One of the way to control inflation is monetary measures. Otherwise we can even say monetary policy. Okay. Another way is what? The second way is fiscal measures. So we haven't discussed fiscal measures. So we just started with monetary measures. Okay, so monetary measures means it is happening through the central bank. So central bank is the authority to organize and done the doing the what is that monetary policy, because that is the authority to do matters with the banks, right? So that's why it is issuing or happening to the central bank. Okay, so in order to control inflation, central bank will be using a monetary policy named as what? Contractionary monetary policy. Contractionary policy, monetary policy, the meaning is we need to contract, right, reduce the inflation. So that is the meaning of contraction. So contractionary, so we need to reduce the inflation, right? So for that, contractionary monetary policy is using by the government to control the inflation. So contractionary monetary policy is happening in three different ways. So these are the methods or tools available with the central bank to control inflation as per contractionary monetary policy. One is increasing the interest rate, right? So when the interest rate is high, people will not borrow much from the bank, so that much money, yes, so that much money, what will happen, will not come to the market. Only when money coming to the market will be causing inflation, right? So when the interest rate is high, people will not borrow much. So when they are not borrowing much, what will happen? Inflation will not happen now, because circulation of money is not coming, or money is not coming to the market, right? So inflation will be controlled. Another way is CRR, increasing the CRR or cash reserve ratio. Cash reserve ratio means it's a security of commercial banks kept with the central bank. So all the commercial bank, they have a percentage of money that they need to hold with the central bank. That is a security deposit of commercial banks. Okay. So during the period of inflation, what the central bank will instruct commercial banks, you need to we have to increase the CRR. So more money now we will be holding in central bank during the period of inflation. So when the CRR is high, what will happen? Their availability of fund will be less. When the fund with the commercial banks are less, they cannot lend, right? They cannot give loan to anyone as they wish. That is not possible. So when during the period of inflation, what they will do? They will increase the CRR. As a result, what will happen? The fund availability with the commercial banks will be reducing. As a result, they cannot lend more money to the public, right? So they cannot give more loans. So that way it will be also beneficial to control inflation as per monetary policy. The next method is what? Open market operation. That is the next method available. It is happening through issuing of bonds to the market. That is, bond means it's a security issuing by many companies used to do that. Even banks used to do that as a method to raise capital. So when a bond is issued by in our case banks, what will happen? Whoever is having money, I mean customers, right, people, citizens, what they will do? Whoever is having money, they will buy the bonds and they will hold it with them. What is the use of doing like that? It's an investment for the people. So after the maturity amount, like after the maturity, at the time of maturity, for example, in 2025 January, we purchased a bond. Maybe 2026 January it will mature, right, after 1 year. So that time, with a return we will be, I mean with an interest rate extra, we will be able to get it back from the bank. So that's an investment for the people, for the public. So when the bonds are issued, people will buy and hold it with them. As a result, what will happen? It will be also help to reduce the circulation of money in the market, because that much money now it's not with the customers or not with the citizens, right? Now it is with the banks. So it is went back to the bank. So only in 2026 they will be able to get it back. So for that 1 year time period, what happens? They are reducing the circulation of money in the country as a result of this open market operation policy. You got it? So this is how monetary policy is working to control inflation. Now are you clear? Yes, please.
Yes.
Anybody is having any doubt on monetary policy and how it can be used to control inflation? All of you are okay?
Yes, sir.
Alright, now we are moving to the fiscal policy. Okay, so fiscal policy is directly related to the government. Okay, so monetary policy is related to what? The banking system. However, the fiscal policy is directly related to the government. Okay, so government also has certain ways to control inflation. So basically, fiscal policy is operating through two important tools, that is, one is tax and another one is public expenditure. Okay, so fiscal policy has two main tools. What are they? Tax and public expenditure. So these are the two tools available for fiscal policy. Okay, so our objective during inflation is what? We need to control inflation, right? So for that, government is using a policy called contractionary fiscal policy. Government, what they need to do? They need to contract, right? Reduce the supply of currency, right? So from the side of government, they are taking a policy which is known as contractionary monetary policy in order to control inflation. So contractionary monetary fiscal policy means what? By using fiscal policy, contractionary measures are taking. So they are trying to reduce the circulation of money in the market. So how it can be done? By using tax and public expenditure. So here our objective is what? We need to reduce the money supply. So for that matter, they can increase, or government can increase the tax rate, right? So when the government increase tax, what will happen? People, a major portion of their income or a good percentage of their income will be gone as a tax to the government. So it will go back to the government as tax. So that much money will be cut down from circulation of in the country, right? From the circulation of money in the market. So tax will be cut down. That much amount, where it is going to the government, it is going. So that is not there in circulation in the market, right? So we will be able to control inflation by increasing the tax rates by the government. And also during the period of inflation, government will reduce public expenditures. Reduce public expenditure means what? They will not do huge developmental projects during the period of inflation. What is the problem with that? When the government do huge developmental projects, more money will be circulated or pumped to the market, because for the developmental projects, more people need to be appointed as laborers. For their salary, money will be going to the market, and purchase of raw material, money will go to the market. So like that, more money in different way will be pumped to the market. It will again cause inflation. So in order to stop that, during the period of high inflation, what the government will be doing? They will reduce the public expenditure, right? So public expenditures, government will try to reduce it, right? So when they reduce it, what will happen? It will be helpful to control inflation. As a result, we will be able to reduce the inflation rate in the market, right? So that's another point. Okay, so we have discussed two main tools available to control inflation. What are those two tools? One is Monetary measures.
Monetary measure and fiscal
Yeah,
measure.
very good. So those are the two measures available to control inflation. So is it clear these two measures? Monetary means through the central bank it is happening, right? So central bank, they have certain ways to control inflation, right? So that is called monetary measures. So we have discussed three main monetary measures that can be used for controlling inflation. So these are the three measures, right? Increasing the interest rate, right, and increasing the cash reserve ratio, and going for open market operations, right. So these ways we will be able to, or the central bank will be able to control inflation, right. And we came to fiscal measures, right. Fiscal measures means directly by the central government, right, government level policies. So government, they will increase the tax during the period of inflation. As a result, what will be happening? The circulation of money in the economy will be reduced, will helpful in controlling inflation, right. And also when the inflation rate is high, government will be increasing the public expenditure, sorry, reducing the public expenditure, right. So when the inflation rate is high, government will reduce the public expenditure. As a result, circulation of money in the economy in that way also will be controlled, right. So this will be also helpful in correcting what? High rate of inflation. So we will be able to control it. Okay, so these are the two ways, main two ways what we have in order to control inflation. Clear, all of you? So mainly we have so far discussed about only one concept, that is inflation. So in inflation, I hope all of you are clear with what is the meaning of inflation. Prices of goods and services between two time period are increasing, right. So that is called inflation. And we came across, or we have discussed, the three main types of inflations what we can see in the market, right. So what are those? We have seen about, or we have discussed about uh, demand pull inflation, which is resulting due to increase in demand of goods and services. Cost push inflation, which is resulting due to increase in the cost of production. And monetary inflation, which is mainly resulting due to inappropriate policies of the government, not only the monetary, also the fiscal policy. We can say that inappropriate government policies are the reasons for what? Monetary inflation, right. Okay, and some other causes also we have seen. These kind of reasons will be also plays an important role in rising the inflation rate, like population explosion, political instability, import of goods, increase in wages and salaries, oil prices increasing, and even corruption. So these are all some of the main reasons behind increase in inflation, right. And we came into how we can control inflation, right. We can control inflation by using two measures: monetary policy measures and fiscal policy measures. So monetary policy, through banking sector we are doing it. It has three main tools: bank rate policy, cash reserve ratio has to be increased, and open market operation, right. And fiscal policy, by the government they can do it. So fiscal policy has two main tools: public expenditure and taxation. So during the period of inflation, what they will be doing? They will increase the tax and reduce the public expenditure. As a result, circulation of money in the market we will be able to control. As a result, we will be able to reduce the rate of inflation, right. So that's what so far we have explained. I believe it's clear up to here. If you have any doubt, please clarify it. Yes, please.
Clear.
How about others? Other
Yes.
students? All right. Okay, now we are coming to measure inflation. So we just said already we are measuring inflation by comparing two time period, right? From 2010 to 2024, how much the prices are increased. So that percentage is the rate, right? So that is called inflation rate. So we are basically calculating inflation rate. Okay, so from two time period, for example, onion in 2010, let's say 10 rupiah, now we are paying 25 rupiah. So 2010 to 25, how much extra what happened? Prices are increased. So that is just case of one product, onion, right? But we use many products. So we are taking a basket of goods. Basket means a group of products what we are generally using in our day-to-day life, and for those goods what happened with the price. So that is what we are doing in the calculation of inflation. So for those basket of good, how much the prices are increased. Okay, so that's how we are doing in what consumer price index, which is the method to calculate inflation. So what is CPI? It's a method we use to calculate the rate of inflation. Okay, what is it? CPI is a method we use to calculate rate of inflation. Okay, so CPI is a method to calculate rate of inflation. Alright, so now we have to first familiarize the steps what is involving in calculation of CPI. Okay, so as I mentioned, we have to take first an what is that, a basket of goods and services. So first thing is what we need to do in the calculation, we have to select a basket of goods and services, maybe food items, transportation, medicine, like this. A basket of goods we have to select first, and next thing what we need to do is we need to know what is the base year, the initial year. We said 2 years are required, right? In the calculation of CPI, we need 2 years, right? First year, that is 2010, second year is 2024, right? Like that, 2 year is needed. So between that time period, how much the price increase? So that's what we say. Okay, so the first year is called base year. Okay, the first year 2010, that is called what? Base year. And 2024 is what? The current year. So like that, 2 years we need to select in the calculation, right? And what is happening? We have to check what is the prices of all the goods in these 2 years. 2010, what is the price? 2024, what is the price? Okay, so up to the first we have to do this much informations are needed in the calculation process. Okay, so if we have this much information, then what we can do, we can calculate the inflation or consumer price index in order to understand inflation. Okay, so these are the precondition. We should have a base year and current year. Base year means the initial year to which we are comparing the current year's the current price level, and we have to select a basket of goods, on the basis of which basket of goods we are going to assess the inflation, that we need to select it. And what we have to know, we have to know prices of those goods in both the year 2010 what is the price and 2024 what is the price. So up to this information, if it is available with us, what we can do, we can go for the calculation of consumer price index. Okay, so let's go before we go to the calculation, let's understand a small definition of what is meant by consumer price index. Are essential economic indicator that measure the average changes in price over time that consumers pay for a basket of goods and services. CPI are used to assess inflation, cost of living and economic stability. So basically this is a measure of what? How much the prices of goods and services are increased in the market between two time period. Okay, so that is called basically the method. What is that? CPI, right? Okay, so now we are going to the steps. Okay, so what are the steps involved in the calculation of CPI? Okay, so basically 3-4 steps are there. As I mentioned, we have to first select a basket of goods and services, right? We need to know on what goods and services we are going to compare the prices, right? So we have to select a household basket of goods, that is day-to-day life, what are the goods we are using. So like that 5-6 goods we have to select, or maybe 9-10 goods we can select. And what we have to know, we have to know what is the base year. Base year means the initial year. In our case we selected 2010. So initial year, what is the price we have to know, and what is the prices of those goods in the current year. Current year means the running year to which we are taking the other hand, right? So that is the current year. So these two things we have to have. Then we have to check what? The price changes between the 2 year, how much is the price is changed. So that we have to calculate. Okay. So that much are the main steps involved there. And we do one extra step here in the calculation process. Since we don't know the rate of inflation in the base year, so we have to compare both the year, right? So base year inflation we don't know, we are unaware, right? So we are taking 2 years, right? So we are going to calculate current year inflation. At the same time, we don't know what is the base year inflation. So we give an assumed index of 100 for the base year in the calculation process. Okay, we will come when we are doing a calculation, you will be clear about that. But still, as an advance, I am saying for the base year, since we don't know what is the index in the base year, we will give an assumed value of 100 for the base year. Okay, so and we are comparing it with the current year. Okay, so these are the steps. Now let's do a calculation here so that you will be perfect about the calculation of inflation. Okay, okay. Now here in the calculation, so few things as I already mentioned, we need to know what is the base year, what is the current year we have to know, and we have to know prices of both the years, right? So if this much information is available with us, then we can go for the calculation of inflation. So CPI or consumer price index, we are calculating by using a small equation. What is that? Cost of basket of goods in current year. Now in 2025, what is the cost or price of basket of goods in current year? Not, we can even use price of basket of goods in current year divided by cost or price of basket of goods in the base year. Base year means what? The initial year what we selected. I already mentioned we need to compare, then only we can calculate it, right? So in 2010 what is the price, and 2025 what is the price? Times 100. Okay, this is the formula we use to calculate inflation. Okay, so for example, one small example is given there. For example, if cost of basket of goods in the base year is 500, so in the 2010 the basket of goods we buy, let's say it is 500. Okay, so maybe this basket we can set up, right? So to buy this basket of goods we need 500, right? Okay, so this is the basket, let's imagine. So this basket we purchased for 500 in 2010, right? And cost of basket of goods in the current year. So now we are buying it for, as per the example, $550. So both the year, what is the price of good, right? So if it is both available, what we have to do? Current year, price of goods in the current year divided by price of goods in the base year. Otherwise, cost of basket of goods in the current year divided by cost of basket of goods in the base year times 100. So if you are doing it, you will get a value as per the example 110, right? So this is the value you will be getting. And here comes the thing what I have mentioned here, role of this 100. So you have done with the calculation, you will be getting a value maybe more than 100 if it is a figure compared to the base year. If it is more than coming, the current year value is coming, then this value will be always more than 100. Okay, so once you are done with the calculation, what you are asked is you have to minus 100 from what? The consumer price index. So what is that? That 100 is assumed index for the current year, I mean for the base year, right? So in the base year, actually in the calculation process, we are already given an index for the base year, right? That is this 100. So that 100 is actually which is involving in the calculation. So that 100 we need to minus from the consumer price index. Okay, so we are just minusing the value of 100 from the consumer price index. So what is remaining? That 10, right? So 10 will be remaining there, right? So that 10 is known as the inflation rate of current year. Okay, so that is the inflation rate of the current year 2025. That is, the meaning is from where? From this time, that is base year to current year, 10 percentage rise is there in general price level. That is the meaning. Okay, from base year to current year, 10 percentage rise is there in prices of goods and services. That is the meaning of the calculation. Okay, you got it? So we have to use the formula. This is the formula: base year divided by, current year divided by base year times 100. So current year prices we have to know, that is prices of the basket of goods now in the market, and same basket, what is the price in the base year, right? So that also we have to know. Then we have to divide it and multiply with 100. You will get a value, and from that value you will have to minus the assumed index of 100. Okay, the 100, it is an assumed index which is coming in our calculation. That is an index for the current year, right? So that current year, I mean for the base year, right? So assumed index for the base year, we need to minus from the calculation, and what is remaining? That is 110 minus 100, that is this 10, right? So 10 will be remaining. That 10 is the rate of inflation for the year for the current year. For the current year, that is the rate of inflation of goods in the market. Okay, so this is a simple calculation on how we can understand, how we can assess the rate of inflation. Alright, you have any doubt on this one calculation? Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
All of you are okay with the calculation?
Yes.
Alright, now we are moving to another calculation. Okay, this is like little more realistic one. So different products are given, and those goods prices are also given. Okay, so that's the second type. Okay, so now we need to do calculation based on what? This one. So that is our next one. So let's understand the question first. In 2024, a basket of goods and services used to calculate the consumer price index, including the following items: with their respective prices in 2024, and the base year price in 2020 is given. Okay, so this is the situation. You have a basket of goods and its prices in 2020 is given, and prices in 2024 is also given. Okay, so now what you need to do, you need to do calculation, and you need to understand what is the rate of inflation between these 2 years. So that is the question. So before the situation, how it was, one value is given, right? So just to sum up all the values, and one value is given for the base year and one value is given for the current year, right? But now the case is little different. What is the, you need to, we have what, we have to do some other extra calculation to come to the base year prices and the current year price, because this is like raw values, right? So individual prices are given, but with this we cannot do the calculation, right? So we have to do some extra steps here in this case, right? So let's understand how we will be able to do this calculation. Okay, so that's our task now. Maybe you can note down the question first, and after that we can go to the calculation. Please note down this question, okay? I'll come now. I'll come in 2 minutes, okay? 1 minute. Okay. So this is our current situation. So we have certain goods with us and its prices are given. 2 years prices are given. So what now we need to do is we have to do some extra steps compared to before in the calculation, because it's not one data, right? So it's all separate prices. So in that case we have to first do what? Individual price indices we have to calculate. So anyway the formula is same. What is that? This is the formula, that is current year price divided by base year price times 100. This is our formula, there is no change. So there is no change for our formula. So this is the formula we have to do. First we have, what we need to do is each of the goods we have to calculate individual price indices. Okay, for example rice, let's take example of rice. Rice we know the price in current year is 6, right? 2025 or 2024 the price is 6 MVR, but in 2020 the price is 5, right? So current year price is 6 and base year price is 5, right? Times 100. So that way what we will be able to get, we will be able to get the index of what? Rice, right? So each product's CPI we have to calculate, which is known as individual price index. Okay, for rice we have to calculate how? Rice current year price divided by base year price times 100. Like that for oil also we have to do the same way. Oil current year price is given, right? And base year price is also given, right? So current year price divided by base year price times 100, right? So like that we have to calculate for oil. You got it? Same like we need to calculate for the next item, that is onion. Onion, what we have to do? We have to take the current year price divided by base year price times 100, right? So like that what we are doing, we have to calculate individual price index. Why we did like this? Because it's not given a single sum amount, right? It's all different products amounts are given. So we have to first calculate in such cases individual price indices. Okay, so individual price index, there is no change for the formula. Each of the goods separately, what we need to do? We need to calculate price indices, right, for each of the goods. So once we are done with each of the goods, for example rice, 6 by 5 times 100 we have done, we got 120. Oil we have done 56 divided by 36 times 100, we got 155.55. Onion also same way, 18 in the current year, in the base year it was 8 times 100, 225. We got, these are what? These are called individual price index. Each of the individual products price indices are calculating, right? So that is the first step. Once you are done with the individual price index, we can do the gross price index. Okay, that is the next step. Okay, in this case we have to do the gross price index, which is sum of individual price index. So what we need to do, we have to sum up how many products individual price indexes are calculated. All those products price indices we need to sum up. Okay, so that is called what? Gross price index. Okay, so 120 plus 155.55 plus 225 we have to sum up. So what is called? That is an extra step. which is known as calculation of gross price index. Okay, so we are calculating the gross price index, which is sum of individual price indices, right? Okay, so here in this case we have sum of 120 plus 155.55 plus 225. We got the gross price indices is how much? 555. Okay, that is your gross price index. Once the gross price index is calculated, we have to calculate average price index. So we took the gross, now we are coming to the average price index. So average price index means what? Gross price index divided by numbers. So how many products are selected here? 1, 2, 3, right? So gross price index divided by number is what? Called average price index. Okay, so gross price index divided by number of item. Okay, so that is called so what is it? Average price index is equal to index is equal to gross price index divided by number of items, right? So that's the definition for average price index. So here average price index is equal to gross price index divided by number of items, 3. So that is 500.55 divided by 3. I think it will be 166.85, right? So that is what? Average price index. Okay, so once you are done with the average price index, then we reach to the previous stage. Okay, so we have to just minus the assumed price index from the average price index. Then what is remaining? So that is 166.85 minus 100. What is this 100? Assumed index of base year, right? So that assumed index of base year we have to minus from the average price index. Then what is remaining is what? 66.85, right? So that 66.85 is known as what? Rate of inflation for the year 2024, right? So that is 66, what is that? 66.85. That is what? Rate of inflation for the year 2024, right? So we are doing the calculation to know what is the rate of inflation with the available goods and services, right, and its prices. So what we did, so what are the steps we have done? So we have certain goods with us and its prices are available for the both years. So since the data is given for individual goods, we have to do certain extra steps here, right? So certain extra steps has to be done. So what are the steps we need to do? The first we have to do individual price indices. That is what how we are doing cost of the individual prices, right? Cost of goods in the base year divided by cost of goods in the cost of goods in the current year divided by cost of goods in the base year times 100. So like with that equation we have to do for each and every goods given, and once each and goods individual price indexes are calculated, we have to sum up it. So when you are summing up it, it is known as what? Gross price index, right? So gross price index, we need to take average. So when we are taking average, we will know what is the average prices of all these goods, right? What is the average prices of all these goods, we will know. So that is what? Average price indices, right? So average price index we are calculated. From the average price index, we need to minus the assumed index of 100 for the anyway in the calculation there will be an assumed index involved, that is the 100 of the base year. So that we need to minus from what? From the uh, average price index, right? So then what is the remaining amount, the which is known as the rate of inflation for the current year. Okay, so these are the steps involved in the calculation of consumer price index if the values are given for individual items, right? But if the values are given for the whole goods altogether, then the process is very easy. We just need to divide the values and need to get the answer, right? So here in this case, the first example, values are given for the base year and the current year. The sum is given, some amount is given. So we just need to apply to the equation and need to minus the assumed index of 100 from the calculation. So we will get the value, right? What is the rate of inflation for the current year, right? But when it comes to values are given in like for individual products, we have to do little more extra step where individual price indices need to be calculated by using the equation current year price divided by base year price times 100 for all the individual goods we need to do. Then we have to sum up it, which is known as gross price index. Gross price index, we have to take average. Average is taken by gross price index divided by uh, population, right, or the number of items. So we are minus dividing it, so we are getting average price index. From the average price index, we need to minus the assumed index of 100 of the base year. So what is remaining is known as the rate of inflation for the current year. Okay, so these are the steps involved in the calculation of consumer price index if we are taking given the raw data. Is it clear? Any clarity problem in the method of calculation of CPI and all in both the conditions? Is it clear, students?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so this is your break time, right? Okay, then half an hour break you can take, and after that we will be continuing the remaining topics. Okay, okay, right? So we will take a break now and we will continue the class after the break.
So how many minutes break?
30 minutes, right? So 9:30 you can join. Yeah, 30 minutes break. Hello students, are you back? Hello, are you back? Okay. Okay, so we were doing the calculation. I think you are okay with the calculation. You have any difficulty there to understand the calculation? Any problem? Is it clear?
Yes,
Ilham, what happened?
nothing.
Your voice is no little breaking, that's why.
I what now?
Now it's clear. Please tell me.
I think it's okay for me. No, I don't have any doubt.
Okay, so what about others? Shaza, Ulfa, Ulfa, Shaza. Are you okay with the calculation? Noora, Khadija, Khadija, Muhammad Didi, Shafna. Why no response from you all? Nashfa, Sada, Vizam. Are you? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So actually the steps are very simple. Basic thing what you need to know is the equation, the formula, and according to the situation we need to apply it. So if the values are given in a like sum of form, then our task is very less, right? So just divide it and multiply with 100 and minus 100 from the received value, right? So if you are doing that way, then our task is done, right? And if it is not in that way, what we have to do, we have to do all the procedures, all the steps in detail. This is raw data, right? So raw data means we have to do all the steps. So individual items price index need to be calculated, and after that we have to calculate the gross price index. From the gross price index you have to calculate the average price index. Average price index from the 100, that is assumed index of 100, we need to minus. So that's the step, the usual step, right? So the detailed one. uh, yeah, so if the data is given in a raw form, we have to do the entire process, right? So to get the what is that value, right? So if we are doing, so here in this case 66.85 percentage, what is that, inflation is there. So that is in 2020 price is 5 rise, it becomes 6. Oil the price was 36 and it became 56. Onion the price was 8, now it become 18. So if this is the data, the finding is what, around 66 percentage compared to 20 to 2025, 2024, what happened, prices are increased around 66 percentage, prices are increased. So 66 percentage inflation is there between the 2 years. So that's the meaning. Okay, so this is the way we calculate inflation. So general basket of goods and services we have to select. So in the day-to-day life, what are the goods we are using? So like that, a basket of goods we need to select. Once we have selected a basket of goods, what we need to do, each of those goods 2 years prices are needed, right? Then only we can calculate it, right? So both the year price we have to know. If we know that, we have to apply to the equation, and through which we will be able to find the rate of inflation, right? So now we are coming to the theoretical part again. So what is the use of doing this calculation? So inflation measure. So one of the use of calculation of CPI is what? Obviously it is calculation of inflation. So we will able to understand between two time period how much prices are increased. Accordingly, policy makers will be able to take proper policy whether it is needed to be controlled or not need to be controlled. So such policies, if need to be controlled, whatever policy can be taken, will be able to decide by looking at what the rate of inflation, right? And it will be also a study of what cost of living, right? So cost of living adjustment can be done. So basically CPI is often used to adjust wages and salary, pensions, social security benefits to keep up with the inflation. So if the inflation is too high, with the existing salary we were not able to live, right? So accordingly what the government will be doing, they will be increasing the wages and salary and all, if it is feeling like the cost of living is too high, right? So we need to afford the same basket of goods and services what is possible, what we had in the what was available to us before, right? So for that wages and salary need to be revised, so that will be considered based on the cost of living, right? So cost of living adjustment can be done, and it's also an economic indicator, right? So it is a study of what is happening to the economy, stability of the economy, all those things. It's an indication of that. So that is another use of CPI, we can say. And another use is like a policy formulation, right? Economic policies, which policy we have to use, whether fiscal policy or monetary policies, if there is inflation, right? So policy formulation is another purpose of or another use of doing the calculation. So this will help us to take proper policies to come out of the inflation if it is there, right? So that is another purpose, monetary and fiscal policy. Accordingly we will be able to introduce. Another one is cost of living comparison we can do. So what is the cost of living in to afford the same basket of good in one region and another region? So for example in Ireland and in Malay, so how much is the cost of living comparison we can do by using the consumer price index? What is the prices of same basket of good in Malay and what is in the Ireland? So we can compare it, so we can understand how much extra money will be needed to maintain the same standard of living in Malay city, right? So regional comparison we can do, and also international comparison also can be done. One country this much is the CPI and another country this much is the CPI. So by doing this we will be getting an idea what is so international comparison, right, on cost of living we will be able to understand by doing the CPI calculation. So these are all some of the usefulness of calculation of CPI. Okay, so these all ways CPI is beneficial for us. So anyway, this is one of the main economic calculation, right, in the policy formulation of the government, right? So this will help us to help the government to formulate proper policies what is required time to time, right? So that is the main purpose. So it's an indication of performance of the economy basically, right? So that is the use of doing the calculation of CPI. Okay, so that's about the topic CPI. And if you have any doubt on this particular topic, please let me know so that we can clarify it. Otherwise we will move to the next topic, unemployment. Any problem with this topic? CPI is okay? Are you okay with the CPI?
Yeah.
Alright. You have to respond, okay, whether it is yes or no, okay, positive or negative, please respond. Okay, so please do that. Alright, so now we are moving to the next topic, that is unemployment. Anyway, unemployment is like inflation, one of the commonly using term in our day-to-day life, right? So unemployment. What is unemployment? It's a situation basically where what is happening? A physically capable, like a physically and mentally capable person unable to find job in the existing wage rate. So that is the basic definition. It is a situation where what is happening? Physically and mentally capable, right? Capable person. There is no uh, like any kind of difficulty for the person, right? Physically or mentally unable to find a job, right? In the existing market rate of wage. Okay, so this situation is basically known as what? Unemployment. Okay, so this is the basic definition. If somebody asks what is unemployment, it's a situation where an able-bodied man, okay, able-bodied man means he is not having any physical or mental disabilities, right? So he is perfectly alright, but he is unable to find a job or an occupation in the existing market rate of wage. So sometimes a highly paid job may not be possible for that person. That is not the condition. The condition is in the existing market rate of wage, okay, according to his qualification and experience. In the existing market of rate of wage, if a person is unable to find a job, then we can say that person is what? He is unemployed. Okay, so that's the situation. He should be seeking. Okay, so he must be also what? He must be actively looking for the job. That is also the condition, right? He must be searching, right? That should be there, right? So nobody will bring job to our hand, right? So we have to be actively searching for it, but we are not able to find out, or we couldn't find out it. So such a situation is known as what? Unemployment. Okay. So and next thing is what? Unemployment rate. That is the next thing. It's actually an indicator. Okay, how what is the proportion of people who are unemployed? So that is unemployment rate means what? So we have in our population, what is the total working age population? What is working age population means? So in a country, let's say in Maldives, as per the international bodies, we can say people who are in the age group 16 to 65. Okay, so that age group people is known as what? Working age population. Okay, so working age population means people who are in the age group 16. Okay, 16 means what? Just A level or that range, but in the international standard that is also considered as the working age population, 16 to 65. Okay, so that is the working age population. In that working age population, how many proportion of people are unemployed? Okay, so that is known as unemployed rate. It's a percentage actually. So if we are calculating what is the proportion, right, to the total working age population, how much people are unemployed. Okay, so that is known as what? Unemployed rate. So we have to know what is working age population. What is working age population? So working age population means people who are in the age group 16 to 65 years. Okay, so they are known as working age population. Okay, so in this age group, how many proportion of people are unemployed? Okay, so that is known as what? The unemployment rate. Okay, so unemployment rate meaning is in this age group how many proportion, right? What is the proportion of people who are unemployed? So that we are calculating by using a small like what is that formula? What is the formula? Total number of unemployed persons. So in a country, what is the total number of people who are unemployed? Okay, so in the age group 16 to 65, how many people are unemployed? Okay, so that is total number of unemployed persons divided by total labor force. So what is total labor force means? In that country, how many people are in the age group 16 to 65? That is the total population. Total number of people who are in the age group 16 to 65 is known as total labor force. In that total labor force, how many are unemployed? You got it. So that is the equation we are using to calculate unemployment rate. You got it? Total number of unemployed persons. So it means what? Between the age group 16 and 65, how many are unemployed? Okay, that is total number of unemployed person divided by total labor force. So total labor force means 16 to 65 years, that age group, how many people are there in that country? Okay, so that is the total labor force of the country times 100. Okay, so this is the equation we are using to calculate unemployment rate. Right, I think the definition is clear, and unemployment rate, what is meant by unemployment rate is also clear. So unemployment rate is what? It is the proportion of a labor force who are unemployed to the total workforce. Okay, in the total workforce of the country, how many percentage of the people are unemployed? That is known as unemployment rate. Okay, so anyway, in the definition, 2-3 things are coming. Number of unemployed people, individuals who are actively seeking employment but they are currently without a job. So there is actually number of unemployed people, right? And workforce means what? Total number of people who are either employed or unemployed, actively seeking a work. So that is the labor force. Basically, who are between the age group 16 to 65 years, right? So they are the people, the labor force. Okay, so for example, one example is given here. What is the example? If the labor force is 1,000 people, maybe in a small island or in a village, the total labor force means people who are between the age group 16 and 65 is 1,000, right? And 100 of them are unemployed. That is, in 1,000 people, 100 are unemployed, right? Then the unemployment rate, how we will calculate? Our equation is what? What is the definition? I mean formula. Formula is total number of unemployed person, right? So total number of unemployed person divided by the total labor force, right? Working age population, right? So times 100. So that's the equation. Okay, let it be. So 100 is the number of people unemployed. So total unemployed divided by, what is that? Labor force, right? Total working age population 1,000 times 100. So if you are using this equation, you can see, okay, when you are dividing and multiplying with 100, 10%, right? So 10% of the people in this particular place are unemployed, right? So that's how we calculate unemployment. Anyway, it's a very small equation. What is the equation? Unemployment rate is equal to total number of unemployed person divided by labor force, or total labor force times 100. So if you are using that, we will be able to calculate unemployment rate. Okay, so again, when we are coming back to the concept of unemployment, we can divide the unemployment into different types. Okay, so all of these say unemployed, but when we are going little in depth, there are all these type unemployment. What we can do, we can divide into different types. Okay, so that's what now we are going to see. What are the different types of unemployments we can see around? First one is demand deficit unemployment or cyclical unemployment. So basically, from the first part we can see what is that there is not enough demand for the labors, so demand is deficit, right? So when the demand will be deficit in that economy, maybe uh, the economy is showing a trend of recession, right? So there is no much economic activities are happening or production is less, so that is the period of time basically we say recession, right? So recession time, what will be that? Cyclical unemployment will be occurring. Okay, otherwise demand deficit unemployment will be occurring. Okay, what does it mean? During the period of recession means where it's a period of a downturn of the economy, where less economic activities like production, distribution and all will be comparatively less. So during that period, what will be, a lot of people will be losing their job because of the problem of recession, which is known as what? Demand deficit unemployment, otherwise cyclical unemployment. Two names, same thing, cyclical unemployment or demand deficit unemployment. Okay, that is first type, let's say. Another type is the voluntary unemployment. Right, so voluntary unemployment, from the term itself we are clear what is it, right? So what is that? These people are, they voluntarily, they are not preferring to go for any job, so that's the reason why they are unemployed. So they are not prepared to accept the offer at the existing wage rate. The meaning is what? They are not ready to go for the job. Job is there, but they don't want to go for any job. So they just prefer to be unemployed. Okay. So such a type of unemployed people, what we call it as voluntary unemployed. So they voluntarily, they prefer to be unemployed. That is the second type. And third type is there, that is known as frictional unemployment. So frictional unemployment means between two jobs. Suppose let's take a person. Okay, a person currently he is working as a clerk or administrative staff in an office. Okay, and now he feel like, okay, I want to upgrade my profession, so for that now I am going to take a break from my administrative job and I am going to do a course, and after the course I will be placed in a better position. Okay, so maybe as a manager. So in between the course, what is happening? The person is unemployed, right? So he was working as an administrator and he decided to leave the profession and decided to choose, decided to do another course to be promoted to a next level of his career, like is to be an manager. Understand? So between these two jobs, what is that? So he is taking a training or he is doing some preparation. So that period of time he is not doing any job, right? So such unemployment is known as frictional unemployment. Okay, so this is short-term unemployment. Once the course is completed, he will be placed into the position what he is looking for. So unemployment basically between two jobs, we call it as what? Frictional unemployment. Okay, so which is very common, right? So in our businesses and all business organizations or in our offices, we can see this kind of candidates. They are currently working as a administrative or some professions or some post, and soon they are preferring to move to some other designation. For that they are going to take a break and doing some courses, so that time period they are not employed. So such candidates, we call it as what? They are frictionally unemployed or they are frictional unemployed. Okay, so that is next type. Another type of unemployment is the structural unemployment. Okay, structural unemployment means when the economy develop, previously there may be the employees may be used with certain like old pattern of production and the machinery operations and all, right? So now maybe the economy is using a better advanced technology, so those employees may not be able to operate those machineries, right? So like that cases are there. So what will happen? Those employees will become unemployed. So mismatch of skill, that is the problem there. So they know an old system, they were better there, but now what happened? That old system is now replaced with a better technology. So because of that reason, what happened? A group of people are now become unemployed, right? So such unemployment is known as structural unemployment. So this happened because of what? Due to a structural change occurred in our economy. So maybe technological advancement, we can take it as a best example, right? So from a manually operating machinery, like such a factory, they are bringing an AI automation method, automation based machinery. So what will happen? So due to that structural change happened in the factory, what will happen? Some people who were doing the contemporary style of production process will become unemployed, because now so far, since they are not skilled in the new machinery, they will become unemployed, right? So such unemployment is known as structural unemployment. Okay, so these are all various types of unemployment what we can do in our economy, or what we can see. Other, and there is still some more, like seasonal, right? Seasonal unemployment, that is another type of unemployment what we can see, right? So seasonal means what? During a specific season, uh, laborers are unemployed. For example, fishermen. So during the monsoon time or monsoon season, they may not able to go for fishing, right? So that particular season, what is happening? That those type of laborers will become unemployed. Same in the case of agriculture, right? So all these places is seasonal, right? So seasonal unemployment is another type of unemployment what we can see. So these are all generally or different type of unemployments what we can see in our economies. Okay, any doubts on these types of unemployments? Is it clear? Cyclical unemployment, voluntary unemployment, frictional unemployment, structural unemployment, seasonal unemployment. So seasonal, so these are all various types of unemployments what we can see in our economy, right? Any clarity problem? Yes? Any problem? Is it clear? Can you respond? Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Now consequences of unemployment. So it's well aware to us. Economic growth will be less, right? So when there is unemployment in a country, many people are not employed. What will be that? Economic growth will be less in that country. So that is one of the consequences of unemployment, right? Lower consumer spending will be there, because people will not have money to spend, right? Underutilized resources will be there, because people are unemployed, so they are not utilizing all the resources what is available in the economy. So underutilization of resource, that is another problem we can see in such economy, right? So reduced economic growth. Another consequence is government spending will be more, because government has to, for the unemployed ones, they have to give them payment, right? Unemployment benefits need to be given, otherwise their life will be in difficulty, they will go to poverty, right? So that is a problem. So government spending will increase when there is what? Unemployment, right? So welfare payments they have to give, and government has to create more employment opportunities, right? So job creation, again there is cost, right? Infrastructure development and job creation, so it will increase government spending. That's another consequence. Decline in tax revenue. So when the people are not paid, income tax will be less, right? So when the people are unemployed, from them government cannot get income tax, and business taxes will be less, so production will be less, right? GST also, since the purchasing power of the people are less, GST income will be also going down when the unemployment rate is high, right? So decline in tax revenue to the government. So and also we can see economic disparity will be widening, gap between rich and poor have and have nots will be more, right? So that is another consequence what we can see with high unemployment rate. So those who are having good businesses, they are those who have good jobs, what will happen? They will be having better standard of living. At the same time, have nots conditions will be worse, right? So that is another consequence what we can see with unemployment, right? Widen the gap between rich and poor, right? So these are all some of the consequences, right? We can see because of the problem of unemployment in our economies, right? Okay, any confusions with these consequences, right? So it's like normal points only. Economic growth will be reduced, a decline in tax revenue, widening the gap between rich and poor, or economic inequality will be created in the economy, right? Okay, so these are all some of the general consequences of unemployment, right? Okay, right? Clear? Are you clear?
Yes.
Okay, moving forward. So now what is the role of government in reducing unemployment? How the government can help, or how the government can take policies, or government can find ways to reduce unemployment. So here we are going to see different ways through which government can do something in order to reduce unemployment. One is policy development and implementation. So government can formulate policies in various matters. For example, interest rate can be reduced, provide tax incentive to business, so they can just reduce the tax on businesses, right? Increase government spending on infrastructure facilities. So all this will basically promote more business opportunities. As a result, more employment opportunities will be created. This will help to reduce unemployment, right? So economic policy development and implementation, we can see it is one of the way to reduce unemployment, right? So the government has to formulate proper policies in all the aspects, right? Fiscal policy, monetary policy, and other associated supply side policies can be taken in order to increase what is that, employment opportunities, right? So that is one of the way. And another thing is what? Investment in infrastructure facilities. Public work programs can be done, urban and rural development programs, right? So government can do infrastructure development programs. So when infrastructure is getting developed, what will happen? More employment opportunities will be created, right? So associated to the infrastructure, more employment opportunities will be created. As a result, we can see we will be able to create more employment, right? So we will be able to reduce the unemployment. So infrastructure development can be another thing what the government can do in order to reduce the unemployment. Another way is encouraging foreign direct investment. What is the meaning of foreign direct investment? What is that? So foreign companies, we are attracting to our country and asking them to invest in our economy, starting new businesses, right? So as a result, what will happen? They will be creating more employment opportunity. When foreign businesses operate in our country, they will create more environment, what is the employment opportunities, right? So more employment opportunities will be created. As a result, what will happen? Our people will get job, right? So citizens will be getting job, so unemployment will be reduced. So that is another way we will be government can reduce unemployment in a country. Also, what the government can do, the government can provide education and the skill development program, vocational training, like lifelong learning initiatives, collaboration with industry for internships, right? So this kind of education and skill development programs can be conducted by the government for promoting employment opportunities, right? So when they are getting better education and skill development trainings, their employability skill will be better. As a result, they will be able to find more employment opportunities, right? So this way what will happen, more employment opportunities will be able to create, right? So that because people's skill are improving, so they will be able to find more employment opportunities, right? At the same time, when we have low unemployment rate in a country, we have a lot of benefits. Okay, I hope the role of government in correcting unemployment is clear to you all. Anybody is having confusion on these points? Yes? Anyone with confusion on these points?
No, sir.
All right. Okay, so we are almost towards the end of the class. Very few slides remaining. So be attentive. Yeah, so we'll finish it now. Okay. Now we are going to see. Yeah. So what are the benefits if we have low unemployment rate? Suppose a country is having low unemployment rate. So what all benefit the country will be having? So high economic growth will be the right. So economic benefits are there, right? So high economic growth will be the productivity will be high, tax revenue will be more because more people will buy goods and services, right? Government will be able to get direct tax and indirect taxes, so it will be beneficial for the government to get more tax revenue, and also government will be able to reduce welfare payment, like we said, unemployment benefits, right? So we once the all the employees, I mean citizens are employed, then the government no more need to give unemployment benefit to those people, right? So welfare payments can be reduced, so that is another advantage what we can see, right? These are what economic benefit. From the economic side, we can see these all benefits are there for the country when there is less unemployment, right? At the same time, social benefits are the people's standard of living will be better, right? So now they have more income, so they will be able to afford better products, right? So their housing facility will be better, education will be better, they can get better access to healthcare facilities, right? So standard of living will be better when the unemployment rate is low, right? Social benefits to the country, right? So standard of living of the people will improve when there is low unemployment, right? And also poverty rate will be reduced, right? So because people are employed, so poverty rate will be also less. And for the business, right? So for the what all things now we have seen, benefit, economic benefits we have seen, right? And social benefits now we have just went through. Now we are going to see how when there is less unemployment, it will be beneficial to the business. Customers will be more, right? For the businesses, when the unemployment rate is less in a country, there will be more customers to buy goods and services because all the people have very good income since they are employed, so they will be spending it on different goods and services, right? So high customer demand will be there, right? So and better investment climate will be there for the business, so more businesses will be attracted to countries where they have better purchasing power, right? So more customers, active customers, right? So that will be also beneficial to the business, right? So that is another point. The next slide is for the individual. What all benefit will be the personal benefit to individuals, financial stable, right? So people will become financially stable, And when they are financially stable, what will happen? Obviously they will be free from the stress. So financial stress is maybe one of the main stress for every individual. So when they have sufficient income to meet their requirements, they'll be free from a lot of stress. So mental health will be better, right? And also they will be able to invest on skill development, right? So these are all some of the benefit we can see. And also we can say social status will be better. That's also we can add as an advantage. So better social status. Social status, right, will be high. So these are all some of the benefits of low unemployment rate. Okay, so benefit is there for the economy. Social benefits are the benefit to businesses, individual benefits, right? So these are all various types of benefits what we can see when there is low unemployment rate. Okay, so that's about that particular topic. So the first module now we have completed. Okay, I believe it is very clear to you all, right? Any confusions? It's clear, right? Any problem with the content? Okay, so we already had a small worksheet last day tutorial. So now you have another one. So you please try to do this one yourself. Maybe you can take printout and practice these questions. All these questions are very relevant, and it's very important for you to prepare yourself for the exam. Okay, so please practice these questions. Okay. So what you need to do, you have to practice all these questions for the next day. Okay, so few questions are there. It's all based on the material. So please, okay, so please be aware about all the questions. Okay, inflation, CPI, demand pull inflation, cost push inflation, unemployment rate, structural unemployment, right? Contractionary monetary policy, fiscal policy, all these are okay, right? So please go through the content once more, and you must be able to answer all these questions. Okay, so it's very important. Okay, and when it comes to the part 2, you have some case study questions, case study, and supported questions are there. For example, here case study on inflation and growing economy. Explain how demand pull inflation contribute to rise in price. So demand pull inflation means what? We have studied a diagram. So with the help of diagram you can just explain it. So what will happen? You have to go through the content. Okay? So when you are going to the content, so demand pull inflation you can see. So you can draw this diagram, right? And with the help of diagram, what you can do, you can so it's the diagram. And you can just explain the diagram, right? So this diagram you can use and just explain what is the meaning of demand pull inflation, right? And how the prices are increasing, right? So that's what you have to do. Describe the potential consequences of cost push inflation. So cost of goods and services are increasing, right? I mean, It is resulting into what? Increase in cost of production, right? That is the reason. So you have to define what is that, what is meant by cost push inflation, increase in cost of production, right? So that's a reason. So you need to explain consequences, right? So what will be the consequence? Prices will be high. When the prices are high, what will be that? Uh, Firms will reduce the production, you can say. Then profitability of business will be going down. So like that, consequences also you can bring into the answer, right? So that's what you have to do in this question. Practice the question. Okay, we will be discussing these questions next day. Okay, so please do the answers first. All right. Again, you have another case study. Explain about types of unemployment mostly like to observe during the recession. So recession time, what is the unemployment we are facing? What is that? You are not responding. So during the period of recession, you will be placing demand deficit unemployment, right? Otherwise, what is the other name? Cyclical unemployment, right? So you have to explain about it. Explain about type of unemployment most likely to observe during recession. So this is the type. So you have to explain about it, the type of unemployment. And next one is evaluate the effectiveness of public work program in reducing unemployment. So public work, what will happen when public work programs are there? What will happen? Can you say some points? More employment opportunities will be created, right? What will happen when more public work programs are there? Then additional investment of opportunity, right? Opportunities in the private sector, right? Increase in aggregate demand. Okay, so and you can say all this will, you can link and develop the answer. Effectiveness of public work program in reducing unemployment, right? Further create more employment. Right. So these all points you will be able to bring into the answer. Right. Can you say the answer of next question? Explain why structural unemployment occur. What is the point here? What is it? Structural unemployment means what? Huh? What is that? Structural unemployment? Unskilled, right? Unskilled in the new industry, right? That is the main thing. So they are unable to cope up with the advancement in technology, right? So which will result structural unemployment, right? Unlike vocational training can address the mismatches between skill and opportunity. So how vocational training can address mismatch in skill and a job opportunity, right? So vocational training means what? We are making the candidates fit to the current job market, right? So for that only we are giving vocational training. So this will make the candidates fit to the current job opportunities since they are skilled, right? So this will help them to create more employment opportunity, and their employment opportunities, chance will be higher, right? So they will be able to find better jobs, right? So those kind of points you can include in the answer. And you have essay type question also. Analyze the causes of inflation, discuss the measures that can be taken to control it, right? So causes of inflation, it's mentioned there, right? So what are they? First you can say this one, demand pull, cost push, monetary, right? And you can say overpopulation. Then what was it? High import, right? Inappropriate government policies, right? All the like that points you will be able to answer, bring into the answer, right? Evaluate the economic and social benefits of low unemployment. So that's the next question. So what all things, all the points are already mentioned there in the slide. Those points we have to use, right? And discuss the role of consumer price index in economic policy making and its importance in measuring cost of living. So it's about that. So that also it's related to the PPT. So please try to answer these questions for the next day. Okay, so you can take a printout of this material and do it as a homework. All right? Okay, right? Students, are you there?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
teacher.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So please do this work, okay, for the next day. So then only we will able to understand how.
John, do we have to upload?
Not needed. I will upload a marking scheme for the questions, so you can just cross check and correct it later yourself. Okay. But you have to do it. It's very important because then only you will able to write the exam, final exam. So that's why I'm always giving you the worksheets. Last day's one you have to do. Okay, it's very important. So now this week you have to do this one also. So please work on it and complete it. Okay. I will upload a marking scheme for you to cross check. Alright. So you can just cross check it and mark it. Alright. Okay, right. So that's about the class for tonight. Have to revise, okay? Otherwise, it will be difficult for you last moment. Okay, so please understand that and please do enough revisions. Okay, I'll take the attendance now. Rahima is the Rahima, not there, right? Yamin, Yamin.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sir, Rahima is present. She said
okay.
some
Rihan,
problem is there.
okay. Rihan, how Awaina, right? Ahmad.
Present,
Is it?
sir.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. Ilham is the. Ulfa is the, right?
Present.
Yeah. Ima. Ima.
So Rehan is here.
Rihan is the. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Shaza.
Present.
Then Nada is the, right?
Present.
Sani. Sani. Usama,
Present.
Sada,
Present, sir.
Lena,
Present, sir.
Lisana,
Present.
Present.
Mauroof,
Present, sir.
Khadija. Khadija was there, no, I think. Khadija is there, right?
Present.
Okay. Nahil,
Present.
Naifa,
Present.
Nas, Nashfa,
Present, sir.
Nauma,
Present, sir.
Noora,
Present.
Aishat Noora, Nazim,
Present, sir.
Nuzat,
Present, sir.
Rifao,
Present, sir.
Rilwan.
Present.
Okay.
So Ima also here.
Who?
Ima.
Wait. Okay, okay, I will mark it. Now, Shafna,
Present.
Shamuna,
Present.
Shifaza. Shifasa is there? Okay. Ibrahim Wahid. Ibrahim Wahid. Wiz- Wizam. Muhammad Wizam. Muhammad Wizam. Hawa
Present,
Riyada.
sir.
So Vizam is also here. I don't know then.
What is? I think you are doing. You are not the class, though you are joining. So next day onward it's must. Okay, you have to keep your cameras on. Okay. Otherwise, I will not give you attendance. Who is the? You said. Who is the one?
I'm here. Ema.
Hima. What is your name? Okay. Then who else? Rest all are there, right? Fine, right? Sani not there, right? And please do the work, otherwise it will be difficult for you to write the exam. Okay, so have to practice. The given worksheet you have to practice. It's very important. Okay. So this
Okay.
student who Ibrahim Wahid is the
No.
no, right? Okay, all right. So please, what you need to do is you have to work on these questions. Last day's one also, you just take printout of all these tutorials every on a weekly basis, and you practice it. Okay. So rest of the day you can practice these questions, right? Not like all the day. You just need maybe one day to do these questions, right? So just do one day. Okay, I will upload the marking scheme for you so you can cross check with it. Okay, so day one also I will send the marking scheme so you can cross check it. Okay, and correct it. All right. So it's very important. Otherwise, I am saying last moment it will be very difficult for you to pass the exam. It is because all of a sudden studying these topics is not easy, right? It's not like microeconomics. Content is little more tough, okay, and so you have to practice on a regular basis. Okay, these questions need to be practiced properly. Then only you will be able to answer the questions in the last moment. Okay, so please do it accordingly. Okay, so every week you have to do the tutorials given properly. That week itself you have to finish it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, okay. So from beginning itself we have to go in that way. Okay, otherwise last moment you will be in trouble. That's why I'm saying. So you have to practice it. Okay, that week work you have to finish that week itself. Don't keep it pending. All right. Okay then, so for today we can wind up the class. All right. So I believe there is no much confusions for today, but you have to revise it, okay, and do this question paper basically. Do the worksheet, so the area will be clear to you. Okay. So and still, if you have any doubt, next day please ask me. So we will discuss it again. All right. Okay, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So we are winding up for the day. Good night.
Good
Okay
night,
then.
sir. See you.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Good night.